Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to our first series of Purple Coach Conversation. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Anne, and it's really lovely to have you guys here today. So we just wanted to come together and just give you a quick explanation of what we're doing here. And the aim of what we're doing is coming together to have open, honest dialogue around all issues around race, discrimination, and this is following on from the Black Lives Matter movement, which obviously has been there before George Floyd's death, but it opened, this conversation was following on from the recent events following from his death. So me and Tanya came together to start a platform where we can openly discuss issues that are relevant around race. And very important to mention, and almost like a bit of a disclaimer, if you like. So we will get things wrong, as everyone does every now and then, and we're happy to receive feedback. We are here to share our own opinions around different topics. And we're not trying to get it right. We're not trying to claim that we're experts in diversity or anything else. This is just our own honest opinions and views around topics that we're passionate about, that we care about, and that would like to get people involved in.
Especially, thank you, Anne. It's especially because we're both coaches. We both are we both have trained as coaches. I trained as an executive coach, and Anne is a relationship coach. And so our goal is kind of help our clients around change, and we do that through dialogue, and it's not mentoring where you kind of tell the person, give the person advice on what they should be doing, but it's more like opening the dialogue and the conversation and making sure the person finds answers within themselves. But I think enough of the introduction and the disclaimer. We want to go into the conversation straight away, and we want to make sure that you know why we are together and what has brought us together, and this very honest kind of conversation where we might not say all the right things, but we want to get it right somehow with the conversation together and with you guys. So what if I start talking about how we met?
Yes, Tanya, I would absolutely love that. If you can give our viewers, so Tanya approached me, and it would be lovely if you could just give us an idea of why you actually approached me, Tanya.
Yes. So we both part of a networking group in London, and basically before we met, virtually met, because everything is on Zoom, everything is remote. When George Floyd happened, I think for me and for a lot of people, I kind of saw a new reality of the world, and I felt ashamed that I had to wait so many years to kind of realize that, to realize the privileges that I've had. I knew I was a privileged person. I come from a good background. I've done studies, etc. But I didn't understand the extent of my privileges. And even though I've got family all around the world, and we fostered children during the summer, I was exposed to diversity, etc. I never truly understood the extent of this privilege until George Floyd, and it kind of was a moment where I paused within myself, and I started reading a lot. And social media, for that, we talk about so many negative things about social media, but if you look at what the interesting and the incredible people that are posting and that are sharing on social media, and you learn so much, and there's so much resource out there. So I'm very thankful for that. And I started realizing a lot of things, and there's been like some kind of evolution in my mind, but I had no idea how to start and where I would make a potential impact, and I was afraid. So I opened up to my coaching supervisors, as I'm not sure everybody knows, but we as coaches have supervisors, and my supervisor is a white male, and I told him about the fact that how come I've never thought about the diversity in coaching. My teachers, how come I had no diverse kind of teachers? They all were white, and even the students, etc. And the realization came from also the reading lists and things like that. And so when I saw you at the networking event, I thought to myself, how am I going to talk about this? I mean, Anne is a coach, so I'm sure she might understand, where I'm coming from, but I want to change something. I want to make sure that, to create an impact, whether it is in the networking group that I think is not diverse enough, and whether it is in my coaching school that I also believe is not diverse enough, and also within my own relationships and my clients, and making sure that I have and I continuously seek to be exposed to people that don't necessarily look or think like I do. So the like-minded idea of, okay, let's surround ourselves with like-minded people, it is not the result for growth. If it's the opposite from and it kind of was a big revelation. So I just to recap, I kind of, after George Floyd, I felt ashamed, I felt lost, and scared. And then when I spoke to you, when we did the one-on-one, I mean, maybe you can share that, but I straight away went into telling you, listen, I want to talk about Black Lives Matters, and I just want to talk about this. I don't want you to tell me, to educate me, because I've done the work. I mean, it had been more than a month since George Floyd, and I had read and ordered many books that I had been reading and researching, etc. So I didn't want you to be there to kind of tell me that it was okay, that I hadn't realized it, but just to kind of to create something that was purposeful for others that are in my
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll start off by saying, Tanya, first of all, I salute you for having the guts to do that. I salute you for having the guts to start a conversation like this, because we wouldn't be here with Purple Coaching Conversations if it wasn't for you being courageous enough to go, actually, I need to be doing more. I need to be more proactive in the change that I want to bring about. And I'm going to actively seek out who can I have these conversations with. And as you say, you were not looking to this Black woman to educate you on Black Lives Matter issues. You've done that yourself. But it was about, okay, how do we now have these uncomfortable conversations? And, we got into the whole concept about, people are afraid to talk, and a lot of white people are afraid to talk because they're afraid to get it wrong. They're afraid to say the wrong thing, or they're afraid to get called out or to get shamed for what they have said and things like that. And then we spoke about, the whole concept of just shaming people for the sake of shaming people, how wrong that is, and how that in itself is a barrier that stops the conversation from happening. We're not saying don't call out companies or people who are obviously racist or behaving in a racist manner or in a discriminative manner, but let's stop trying to call out and shame people who are actively trying to learn and be better and be more diverse. And instead, from that coaching perspective, let's teach each other, let's educate each other. I mean, I learned a lot from you as well as a Black person, quite frankly. because, and we brought this up as well, and we've had a lot of frank conversations, and it's like, you're a white woman in your white world, and I say that lightly, but you know what I mean, as in, I will not experience life as a white woman ever, because I'm not a white woman, in the same way that you will not experience life as a black woman, because that is simply not the shell that you are in. And this is putting aside social economic differences and class or whatever other people like to go, no, the differences is purely based on poverty or class or how you sound and how you speak and all of that. No, we're keeping it real. And we're keeping it real, and we know that there are differences purely based on the fact of our skin color. And this again, comes back to our purple cow conversations, that this is the only surface difference. We're both coaches, both mothers, same social economic background and so on. The only difference is, I say only, but is the fact that we're black and white. And having these conversations and being comfortable enough to have them, and not being afraid to get it wrong, and not being afraid to say the wrong thing, and then again
somewhere.
Yes, exactly.
And we don't really know where to start. I mean, I'm talking for myself, but I didn't know. And when I've spoken with a lot of white people post that, and it's very much not knowing where to start. Just the fact of when I had called a few people before we chatted, but even before I told you, by the way, I'm calling you to talk to you about Black Lives Matter, I thought, what is the reaction going to be? Am I off boundaries, or is it off limits? What am I going to talk about? But actually, it is completely on limit. I don't know if it is correct what I'm trying to say, but it's exactly how you should approach it, and be like, by the way, we are different. I can see the color difference, right? And I can see you. I can see you. I might not understand you, and you will not understand me, but I acknowledge you as being, black, and being in a networking group with 95%. I don't know, it's a wrong number, but sometimes it's even more, 99% of white women.
Huge majority. Yes.
Huge majority. I see you. I can relate to that, and it doesn't mean I will treat you differently. It's not like we were talking about this pity attitude of, okay, I'm hiring you because of your color, etc. It's not about that, but it's acknowledging that life is experienced differently, and as coaches we need to know those small but important differences when we have conversation, especially with clients as well.
Yes, exactly. You can't claim to truly understand your client as a coach if you have never taken the time to know much about their own experiences in their lives. Now, I know some people will go, I know there's some Black people out there who've never experienced any kind of racism, and have never, they feel like, I've always been treated the same as my white friends or workers and colleagues, and fantastic. That is the ideal world that we're all trying to aim to. But the reality is, unfortunately, for a lot of people of color and a lot of Black people, including myself, we face racism time and time again, in Europe, in America, and we see it in other continents where we're considered the minority. So having said that, I think it's important to have this kind of open conversations where we're not tiptoeing around things delicately, and clearly calling things out for what they are. And so, this is why, as you probably can see now, Tanya and I are really passionate about having these conversations. And as we continue through this series, we will be bringing up other topics, and we'll give you details of the topics as we go along. But we're using this just as an introduction for you to have an understanding of what we're trying to get with this series, and to also kind of introduce you into why we're doing what we're doing, and again, around having the conversations. The conversations need to be had. They just need to be had. There's no more tiptoeing around it. There's no more ignoring that differences exist. There's no more saying, I don't see color. Yes, you do. We all do. And let's stop with that statement.
Exactly, and that will go into more detail when we will speak about parenting, because we want to do 1 to 2 episodes on parenting, as we're both mothers,
Yes.
with very interesting kind of mixity of children that we have, and both of us. So and parents, etc. So it's very important to share that with you, so that you know that it's okay to say certain words, it's not okay to say others, and we hope that we've created a platform, a website where you will get all the different articles that we've compiled and put together, and there will be those videos coming up every week. So if you want to get them, register to the mailing list on Purple Coach Conversation, and we will also have a list of resources for you to read from, and watch, and podcast, etc. So we're hoping that there will be enough resources for you to learn from. And if we're missing anything, don't hesitate to also share with us. We want to keep this open, and the dialogue and the questioning open as much as possible.
Exactly. You know, just following on from what Tanya just said, this is about a dialogue, this is about a conversation, and we don't want it to just be, you know, around what me and Tanya think. We've got plans to get guest speakers on as well. Would love to hear your comments, would love to hear your feedback. Perhaps there are topics that you'd like to touch on, but perhaps have been a bit shy to do so, or don't know where to start. Would like us to, you know, bring up one of those topics and have a discussion around that. So yes, we'd love this to be a conversational style, not just with us, but with you guys as well. And as we said, keeping it real, keeping it authentic, and having that open dialogue, getting everyone involved, because change happens when everyone is involved.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, and don't forget to follow us as well on our social media, as Tanya said, and we'll have details on that at the end of this video. And yeah, we're excited to be on this journey with you guys, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Take care. Bye.